What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. I'm never getting out of bed. Now, if you want to send a check, maybe I might put like a toe out. I could do like a toe, just like a toe piece. You know what I'm saying? Just like a toe. Um, also, I am turning into a caveman, and that is going to get increasingly worse because I am working on memorizing several sections of the Quran that are very challenging and long and difficult, and I committed to myself that I would not take a single hair off of my face again until I can recite them. I needed to put this at the beginning because the information in this video is very involved, and I need to give you dissertation and context because the Quran is a message and a miracle. A message and a miracle. And at the end of this, you will understand that that thing that you call a Bible is nothing but words on a page. And there's no message, not no miracle. This information is for you. I'm here, everybody. What I'm giving to you is what I already possess. And so I'm giving it to you, you know. Your gifts are not for you in life, no matter what they are. Doesn't matter what they are. Your gifts are not for you. Your gifts are to give and to share with others. And, you know, don't play yourself. You know, don't play yourself, everybody, because this life is too short to play games, and yours could be over as you're watching this video now. Your journey could be over, so don't play yourself. Now, so you should leave this video profoundly affected and impressed upon in some way. So therefore I should see comments from you. If I don't, that means you didn't watch it. Period. 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 Because I never saw anybody who saw a UFO and didn't tell somebody. I'd never seen it. They had to call somebody immediately. They had to do something, had to happen. Because that's an extraordinary thing they witnessed. Well, this is an extraordinary information I'm bringing you in this video that should have a profound effect upon you. So I'm eager to see what your feedback is on this piece, because I want to know how it affected you, what you got from it. But it also, your feedback teaches me. It informs me. Jedi, you didn't do a good job of communicating that. Or you hit the mark. Or you hit the mark, but you could have went a little further. Or something, whatever. But that's going to have to come from you. That must come from you. The feckless amongst you, it doesn't matter if Allah revealed himself to you. You still won't believe. In fact, there's a quick portion of the Quran I'd like to read you that talks about you. When thou dost recite the Quran, we put between thee and those who believe not in the hereafter a veil invisible. And we put coverings over their hearts and minds, lest they should understand the Quran, and deafness into their ears. When thou dost commemorate thy Lord and him alone in the Quran, they turn their backs, fleeing from the truth. That is the feckless amongst you. That's the feckless amongst you. Fleeing from the truth. Fleeing from the truth, you see. But it's also a reminder, a warning, and a comfort to me to say, Jedi, there are those, don't get upset, because there's many of those who hear you and they will never hear you. There's a veil over their heart, deafness in their ears. So this video is for the living, the loyal, the interested, the serious. You are the ones who I will hear from. I'll hear from you. So, message and miracle. I'm laying out for you in this video the miracle of the number 19. And I want you to know this is just a little snippet. It's like pulling one hair off of a cat. One hair. I need you to understand this is just a snippet, because there's so much more volume to this book along these same lines, you know. Even scholars, scientists, mathematicians even have examined this book back and forth just on its physical presentation. Before you get to the revelations, before you get to the prophecies, before you get to the fact that it comes from the divine and all of that, forget that, throw that out for a second. Just the physical book itself has stumped, astonished, impressed many of those who have scrutinized this book in this way. It is a physical miracle and a mathematical marvel. Do you understand me? Testifying that no human wrote this book. Even the hand of how it's laid out is clearly from the divine, because the Quran doesn't begin with the first revelation that came down to the prophet. That's number 96. That's chapter 96. See? But yet, from beginning to end, this thing is a marvel. I marvel. It is the most sophisticated, hear this, it is the most sophisticated book on planet Earth. Statement of fact. And I'm going to give you just a snippet in this video. And I've been saying since 2014. And it didn't matter if you had a Quran or not. I've been saying since 2014. Anybody that ever wants to get with me and has questions, because you guys know I'm a Muslim. Anybody that ever wants to get with me and ask me questions about Islam and being a Muslim, or you want to ask me something about anything, I will move heaven and earth. I'll change my entire schedule just for you. Whenever you want, whatever, you dictate it, and I'll be there. Now, I had a sister, of course, some time back that said, Jedi, I got a Quran, I got a green one. Is that the right one? I said to her, that's fine, but, you know, as soon as you can, you want to try and get something else. That would be this. This is the Yusuf Ali translation of the Quran, usually found amongst those folks that call themselves the Nation of Islam. I'm over it. All right. Why Muslims frown on this is because the translation is among some of the least of quality. I'll be nice. The least of quality, you see? And that becomes extremely important because, first of all, you must understand that there are many words in the divine language that can't be translated to English. They can't. They can't. So obviously, knowing just that, you need to have a translation that gives you the best understanding of something, you see? That's first. So, why we frown on it is because, like I said, it's a bad translation. But we don't totally besmirch it because it has what? The ancient Arabic right there, as all Qur'ans would, right? As all Qur'ans would. It has the ancient Arabic right there to the right. You see? So it doesn't matter what Yusuf says over here. It's what Allah says over here. And this has not changed in nearly 1,500 years. All right? So we frown on it, but we don't completely besmirch it. All right? I hope you could understand that point that I just laid out. Now, so if you got a Quran, allegedly, that would be one of the reasons why you would reach out to me. All right? Now, here's another one. It's not the Quran. This is an English translation of the meaning of the Quran. You see? This is an English translation of the meaning of the Quran. This is what we call tafsir. Tafsir. Tafsir is basically a dissertation. So it's going to be, let's say you just want a dissertation on one verse of a certain chapter, or you wanted tafsir or dissertation on a particular chapter, you know, or maybe you want one that covers the entire book, whatever. All right. So you want to have that in your arsenal. All right. Some of them have the tafsir in it, and I'll show you that in a second. Now, this one is transliteration. So anybody new to the Quran would definitely do themselves a major favor to have this. And my cover came off. I'm over it. All right, but this is the transliteration of the Quran. Jedi, what's transliteration? All right, I'm going to tell you. Now, my full name on my birth certificate is Arabic. When I write it not in Arabic, I write it in transliteration. You see? All right, now, transliteration is basically how to say the Arabic. It's a written way of saying it. Now, the opening surah of the Quran is Al-Fatiha, the opening. All right? Now, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. That means in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. All right? By the way, my logo on this channel, the red with the Arabic says Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. All right? Now, oh, and by the way, quickly to y'all Christian folks, when Jesus was talking about the one who would come after him, the prophet, the messenger of truth, he will speak in the name of God. 144 chapters, they all begin in the name of God. He will speak only that which he has heard. This entire book is what the prophet heard over the course of 23 years as the angel Jibril brought it down to him in parts. He will not be presenting his own ideas. You're going to see in this video, he clearly was not presenting his own ideas. And as I've said, scholars and mathematicians and all these sorts of things have been over this book, the physical book, and were astonished at what they found about its clearly divine layout. Not presenting his own ideas. Transliteration, Jedi. So I told you everything begins Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So if I say, oh, the opening surah goes Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, I've actually been deceiving there. It's not an egregious act, but it's not correct, because they all begin Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So the actual surah, the first line of it actually begins Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, and so on. All right. Now, so transliteration is Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, and so on. You see? So it's helpful because it allows you to say the Arabic even if you can't read it and speak it and say it. You see? Transliteration. You see? So if any of y'all folks that claim y'all got all these Qurans and stuff have been reaching out to me and we got together on a Skype session, this is one of the things I would have been eager to share with you. The door is still open. It's open till eternity. Anytime. Anytime. I don't care what I'm doing. You say, Jedi, I want to talk right now. Boom. I'll do it. Jedi, I need to talk to you in 5 minutes. I need to talk to you tomorrow. I need to talk to you next week. Whatever. Whenever you say it, so shall it be done. The door is still open. So that's transliteration. All right. Now, this is important, everybody, because when we talk about specifically translations, because I'm talking about the miracle of the Quran in this video, and why you don't get the miracle in any translation. Whether your original language is Spanish or Yiddish or German or whatever you speak on the earth, it don't matter. If you don't have the divine language, you can't get the miracle. And here's one example. One of the things I'm bringing you in the video, and I don't want to give away a lot. One of the surahs has 19 verses, but the first 5 verses have 19 words that make up those 5 verses. The sum total of the letters used in those 5 verses is also a multiple of 19, and so forth and so forth, all right? So in a translation, you would never get that, no matter what the language, because they're going to have to use more words to explain it, to translate it, and they have to use some words in place of words because there's no English equivalent for that word, etc., etc. So my message is, in English, you can get the understanding, a basic understanding of Quran, and that's all fine, and you can build on that as you go and all that kind of stuff, and with transliteration that gets you closer, and then once you learn the Arabic, etc., etc. But certainly you will never get the miracle. The miracle. In other words, for instance, if there was only English Qurans that existed on the earth, we would never know the miracle, the physical miracle of this book. And it's not just the number 19, it's not just numbers. There's many others that will astonish you. That's why I said there's no way you can watch this video and not have something to say about it when it's finished. You just can't. Unless you've got that veil over your heart, which means you will definitely be one of the companions of the hellfire on the great day of judgment. That's a promise, everybody, and that's real, and that's from the divine, not the Jedi. You see? Oh, here's my main Quran. This is my main Quran. This is it. You see? And this one has, of course, it has the Arabic, the divine language. It's important to say that because the divine language, at the time, the people were speaking Arabic. And so when Allah revealed this, he revealed it in the language that people could speak, but they realized immediately it was a superior form of the language that had never been heard. It was divine. It was beautiful. It was superior, poetic even. And for many, that was it. That was enough. They were done. They were ready to follow the prophet. Right off the edge of the earth, they needed to. All right. So, but that one has the divine language. It also has a very good translation, and it also has tafsir as well. All right, that's my main Quran, my main one. This is just whetting your palate. You should know at the end of this video that clearly that thing that is known as the Bible is just that, a thing. It is just words on a page. You should also be able to deduce just on your own that that thing is not anything you should put your faith in. There's nothing there. And you got the book of John, the book of Matthew, the book of all these people. I see all your people and I raise you. The book of the creator of everything. Done. We don't have the book of and the book of and the book of. Your maker is speaking to you in this book from beginning to end. My God. But behold its divinity as you hear the information and see what I'm bringing you in this piece. Behold. Behold. And I will expect to hear back from the serious, the loyal, the ones who are paying attention, who don't have the veil over their heart. You, I will hear from. Because it's like when somebody else gets something, you want to know how it was for them, you know. But it's also, as I said, your feedback is important because it informs me of how well I was able to communicate the information. This is for the living. I'll see you soon. everybody? This is the Jedi. And I first think I want to say thank you to everyone who is a serious seeker of knowledge, consumer of information, and it is to your gain to consume the things that I put out, because it will enrich you both in this life and the hereafter. So, shout out to all those people. This is very serious what I'm bringing you right now. I'm very serious. I need you to understand that. What I'm bringing in this piece, everybody, I need you to hear this. If you can get it, it will knock you over like a hurricane. Because you're going to understand the true divinity, a peek at the true divinity of the Quran. Now, it's not just the information that's in the book, everybody. I need you to understand that the actual physical book is a miracle. A miracle on its own, do you understand? That has stumped and puzzled and astonished some of the greatest mathematicians known to humanity. Now, I don't want to overload your atoms and your neurons and, I'm going to give you just a taste. And I've chosen this because I've said my whole life, since I turned 19, I've always said 19 is my favorite age. I'm always going to be 19. Like, I'm just always going to be 19. I'm 19. I am. And I'll fight somebody if they say I'm not 19. Like, it was just something that just never left my soul. I don't know what it is, y'all. Anyway, what I'm going to share with you now, I didn't know at age 19. Because one thing about Islam, and certainly the revelation from Allah, it is a lifetime proposition, everybody. It's a lifetime proposition because Allah has revealed everything to us. There is an answer for everything. There is a sign in everything. So let me put that in context for you. How long do you think it would take you to study a bee? A honeybee. Yeah, but wait now. First, you got to study just their wings. That's it. And fully understand just the wings. Now, you got to study the fur, the little hair that's on them. But you also have to study how the color is what it is. And the texture. We haven't gotten to the legs yet. We haven't gotten to how they produce honey and how they build the honeycomb. And you see what I'm saying? You'd be like, damn. Can't I just name and cite that that's a bee and move to something else? No. So I use the honeybee to say, think about what it would take you just to learn that. And then you got to study the honeycomb. How long would that take you? Now, you have to study the tree that honeycomb, that beehive is built in. You have to study that. You have to study all the habits of the bees too as well. Like, you're going to be at this for a minute. Like, shut off phones and disassociate from everybody that you know on the planet. Because you're not coming back. And this is just the bees. Then you got to study the tree and the soil under the tree. You see? The bark. The leaves, how many years has this tree been alive, and how long does this type of tree live, etc., etc. Then the leaves, and what does it do, and oh my God. I'm trying to give you a microcosm visual of the world we live in. So Allah has given you the answer to the bees, and the ants, and the trees, and the cats, and the dogs, and all the micro things that I just described, like about the bee. So you have all the micro shit on everything that I'm naming, right?
then the sand on the beach, the oceans, every species that's in it, swimming and non-swimming, vegetation and non-vegetation. You understand the habits of the currents of the ocean. Then you have to study all the solar systems and all the planets. And you feel what I'm saying? What I'm trying to tell you is that Allah has given us the answer for all of this. Everything. I've told you a million times. Anything you want to know, Allah has given you, has told you about everything that you are and what everything is from night to day and from birth to death. And this little dollop that I'm going to give you now should help you understand just a tiny, 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 tiny fraction of how complex this book is laid out and why there is only one. If I do my work right, you will go, oh, wow, I see why they wash their hands before they read this book. I see why it would be placed at the highest place in their home and kept in towels or plastic and no one else can touch it that's not Muslim or that's not clean or whatever. Hear this now. There is a surah of the Quran. I won't bore you with names of surahs because you don't speak Arabic and you don't know the Quran. We'll get in that down the road. The 74th surah of the Quran, verse 30. Simply says, Alayha tisata asha. That's it. That's the verse. You just read the whole verse. Verse 30 of the 74th surah of the Quran. You're done. You can go home now. What does that say? Right there, random in the middle of everything, because remember, the Quran comes down over the course of 23 years. So it's not in order of its revelation. Like when you open the first page, it opens with Fatiha. But indeed, the first revelation that the Prophet received excuse me, was surah number 96, which is known as Allah. And when I did my eloquent videos in the past about embryology, we know that the Allah is the clot. That's what the name of that surah is. Al-Allah, the clot. It's the first thing that the angel gave to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we'll come back to 96. We're going to stay on 74 right now, verse 30, because what that translates to, Alayha tisata asha. What that translates to is, over this is 19. Over this is 19. Now remember, this is not that piece of junk you call a Bible. This is a divine book. Divine, from Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth, you and me and everything that we know and don't know and can't know. Stay with me. There's a valuable experience in this video for you. I promise you. The Jedi does not lie. Over this is 19. Just this that I'm going to lay out in this video also will prove to you that this book is not written by a human being. Over this is 19. Surah 74, verse 30. That's all it says. Alayha tisata asha. Over this is 19. Alright, I'm going to try and spare you a lot of Arabic, but some of it is necessary. Now, first thing you must know, there are 114 surahs that make up this holy kitab, the Quran. The kitab Allah, the book of Allah. 114 surahs in the Quran. Here's your first one. 114 is a multiple of 19. 6 times 19 is 114. And for all of you out there who got A plus and outstanding in math, which I hate you, when you were in school, you know as a basic principle that the number 19 is a very difficult number to work with. First of all, it's an odd number. So we're not dealing with 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 and all that. This is number 19, homie. 19. I need you to keep that in mind as we go through this. So that's your first one. The word Allah. Allah saying his own name in the Quran appears 2,698 times. That is 19 times 142. Stay with me. One of the attributes of Allah, Ar-Rahman, the gracious, appears 57 times in the entire book. 3 times 19 is 57. One of the other attributes of Allah, Ar-Rahim, the merciful, appears 114 times. 6 times, 6 times 19 is 114. All right? So 114 times Allah says, is remind you, He is merciful. And so even right there, when we think about Allah saying to man that this Quran has been sent as a mercy to you, that this word would be used 114 times, and that is the exact amount of chapters in this Quran. Think about that. The whole book is a mercy. 114 chapters, mercy 114 times. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Now, the word Quran, the book we're talking about, appears 58 times. Wait, Jedi, that number won't work. Wait, this is where divinity comes in even stronger. Now, the word Quran appears 58 times. But one doesn't count. Because you see, when Allah speaks, He's speaking purposefully and directly. Stay with me, everybody. So when he's talking about the book, He's talking about the book. But when He, in one of the surahs where He's challenging mankind to say that you would never be able to produce a Quran like this, that Quran doesn't count. Because in His divinity, it is now, that Quran is less than when He's representing His revelation. Are you with me? So when He's describing the one you would write, obviously that would not be a Quran, because He's telling you in that ayat that you won't be able to produce a Quran. So that Quran doesn't count. So we're left with 57. Are you with me? I'm trying to show you how the Creator communicates in this book, so that you can understand that Matthew, Paul, John, and Luke shit ain't got nothing going on. This is divinity. Now, so that one doesn't count. So you're left with 57 times that Allah mentions the word Quran. 3 times 19, 57. When Allah is speaking about His kitab, those count. When he's giving you and telling you that you will never be able to produce one like it, that Quran, that word does not count as the same as the other ones when he uses it. Are you with me? This is why I say to my people, when you've heard me say so boldly, you don't know the divine. You don't know him. This is one of the places that that's coming from, this knowledge. And there's so much more. I'm trying to give you just a dollop. Just a dollop. And it's not of Daisy, goddammit. I said it. Now, Surah 9 of the Quran. Now, all 114 chapters of the Quran begin Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So, the Prophet, this is a revelation from Allah. So you never say anything of the Quran unless you say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of God, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Or the most gracious, most merciful. Either one of those can be used, right? And here is the punchline on that. There are 19 letters in Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. 19 letters in that phrase. But Surah 9 has no Bismillah. No Bismillah on Surah 9. But just a second, Jedi. Because guess what? When you get down to Surah 27, there are 2 Bismillahs. You see? Allah expects you to seek these things out, everybody. This is what you're supposed to be doing when you say that you study the Word of God and all that stuff, and you know the Lord and you know His Word. This is the type of stuff you're supposed to be studying. Because everything that Allah does, every single thing, is for a reason, has a purpose and a meaning. I need you to let that sink in for a couple seconds. Now, so Surah 27 has 2 Bismillahs. But now, to show that Allah has a relationship between Surah 27 and Surah 9, remember, Surah 9 has no Bismillah. Surah 27 has 2. Guess how many surahs are from Surah 9 to 27? 19. Are you with me? So that's a relationship between those two, because Allah is saying to you, yeah, there was no Bismillah there, but go 19 down and here's 2 of them. You see what I'm saying? This is not coincidence. This is the divine. I'm trying to help you understand that it's more than just what's in the book and its revelation and all that. I'm trying to show, the book itself is a miracle. And this is just a snippet. I got other stuff that will send you into traffic, pulling your hair out one strand at a time. Now, let us go on. And remember, Alayha Tisata Asha. Over it is 19. Now, so I told you that from Surah 9 to 27 is 19 surahs. But guess what? If you start at Surah 9 and add number 9 to number 10 to number 11, like literally add the numbers, you get 342. Another multiple of 19. 19 times 18 is 342, everybody. Who's writing this without a damn computer? and several laureates from Yale and all that. Come on. So not only 19 surahs between 9 and 27, but if you add up the numbers like 9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12 plus 13 plus 14, all the way to 27, you get 342. And that's 19 times 18, another multiple of 19. Wait, don't pull your hair out yet. Now, we talked about Surah 9 not having a Bismillah, and how Surah 27 has to, and we did the numbers and and everything's 19. But now, let's go to Surah 27, because that's the one that has the two Bismillah Rahman Rahims. And it appears in verse 30 of Surah 27. When you add 30 and 27, you get 57, my people, which is 3 times 19. This is not a coincidence. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Wow. The first surah ever revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, which is why I also laid out for you that the book is not in order from cover to cover of the way it was sent down, because the first surah of the Quran is Al-Fatiha. The opening, but the first surah ever sent, the first revelation ever given to the Prophet Muhammad was surah number 96, which I told you was the alaq, the clot. It's the first surah sent down. All right, and later down the road in our curriculum, I will share with you those revelations. Like, I will recite them in the language of its revelation and give you the translation and all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted you to understand the miracle right now of just how it's physically laid out. And this is just one little thing I'm showing you. There's so much other stuff. When I get into later down the road, when you see how many times the word hell is used, next to the number of times that paradise is used, and love and hate, oh my God, I'm telling you, you pull your hair out, you turn gray, because you can't believe it. You're in shock. The physical book itself is a miracle. Let me give you a little bit more. So, Surah 96 is the very first thing that Allah sent down to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Guess how many verses are in that first revelation? 19. So the very first thing Allah says to the Prophet, He says it in 19 verses. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. But wait. The first 5 verses of that 19 has 19 words. The first 5 verses of that 19 verses has 19 words, everybody. This is the first revelation sent to the Prophet Muhammad. How many times do Muslims pray a day? 5. We'll get to that down the road, which is that's something else. That's going to be another movie. But those first 5 verses have 19 words. And those 19 words comprise of 76 letters. This is just in the first 5 verses. Again, the first 5 verses have 19 words and a total of 76 letters, which is 19 times 4. 4 times 19 is 76. It's just the first 5 verses. And remember, there's 19 verses in this chapter. 19 verses. If you add up the letters of the entire chapter, the entire 19 verses, you get 285 letters. That's 19 times 15, everybody. 19 times 15 is 285. Do you see where this is not a coincidence? How many times have I preached to you in my work? I said when something becomes a pattern, it's no longer a coincidence. It's on purpose. You've heard me rant that. You've heard me rant about that because I was usually talking about police brutality and other injustice and all the crap. So this is deliberate. This is deliberate. I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down in this video, because this should cause you to stop all the madness. Stop and begin to use your head for more than a hat rack. And then on top of that, and I'll repeat this, but this surah number 96, this chapter that has 19 verses, is 19 chapters from the end of the Quran. Exactly. Use your head, everybody. But more than that, listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. I just finished laying out for you the first surah or chapter ever sent down from Allah to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I showed you all the parameters of 19 and the miracle that is there. Here's where you need to sit down, everybody. Just have a seat. Here's the crescendo. Allahu Akbar. Wow. I've been saying his name the entire time. You've heard me say it in videos. You've heard me say it a million times. This book was sent down to Muhammad ibn Abdullah. There's 19 letters in Muhammad ibn Abdullah. My God. Wow. Alaiha Tesata Ashar. Alaiha Tesata Ashar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Wow. Allahu Akbar. When I tell you Muslims know our book, I mean we know our book. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Hopefully through this you see the insult that is this thing called the Bible. Now, from the first surah that the Prophet was ever given, which is Surah 96, to the last surah, which is number 114, so there's 114 surahs of the Quran, or chapters. From 96 to 114 is 19 surahs, everybody. Do you understand this? 19 surahs. Now, as we understand it in Islam, when a woman is pregnant, it's 38 weeks. If it's 37, they have a term for it. I can't remember. If it's 37 weeks, 38 you're good. Some women carry longer. They can go to 40 weeks. All right, but 38 weeks is what the Muslim understands. 2 times 19 is 38. And remember, Allah created you from a clot, the alaqa. So it's appropriate to understand the term when we mention that. So now I'm telling you 38 weeks is 2 times 19, another multiple of 19. I should also point out that that's a total of 266 days. 14 times 19 is 266, another multiple of 19. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Allah is showing you in His creation and in His kitab. So now, every 19 years, Allah has designed it so the solar system realigns itself. Every 19 years. Again, Alayha Tesata Ashar. Alayha Tesata Ashar. Over it is 19. So every 19 years, the solar system realigns. Now, the Muslim prays 5 times a day. Right? Our first prayer of the day is known as Fajr. There are 2 rakats. For you guys that have been paying attention, I've shown you what a unit of prayer is. A unit of prayer is the takbir. Then you have your right hand over your left, and you are reciting Quran. Then you bend over to your knees into ruku and Subhana Rabbi Azim, and then you come back up, standing up, and then it's Sami Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana lakal hamd. You go all the way down to the floor with your nose and your forehead on the ground, prostrating. And then after you do that, then you sit back on your heels. That is 1 unit of prayer, 1 rakat. When you stand back up and start again with another takbir, you're starting another unit of prayer or another rakat. Now, our first prayer of the day has 2 rakats. That's before the sun comes up. That is known as Fajr. 2 units of prayer. The next prayer of the day is known as Zuhur. That's the, noon prayer, just to help you. It's not at noon, because again, it's according to the sun and all those things, but for laymen, we just say, well, that's our noon prayer, just, I'm over you. Anyways, that's 4 units of prayer, 4 rakats. The next prayer of the day is known as Asr. That also is 4 units of prayer, 4 rakats. The next prayer is Maghrib. That is the late afternoon prayer, sun just going down. 3 units of prayer, 3 rakats. The last and final prayer, the 5th prayer of the day, is known as Isha. Isha. And that's 4 rakats. That's 17 units of prayer between all of those. But wait, you need to know the following. It is proper for Muslims to make prayer in the mosque. And when you enter the mosque and you go into the musalla, which is the main area for y'all, it would be the sanctuary. Yeah. Nothing sanctimonious about it, but we're dead. Settle down. Anyways, when you go into the musalla to make prayer, you make 2 rakats for the mosque. There's your 19, everybody. There's your 19. Your Creator is perfect, and everything that He creates is perfect. So anything He's going to communicate to you is divine and perfect. I'm trying to help you understand that even the very book, the way it's laid out, will make you faint. Now, Allah has said to mankind that if the whole of mankind and the jinn, y'all that stay up on my work, you know who the jinn are. That's the civilization of people that Allah created before He created mankind. Allah is always referring to the jinn in the Quran. But Allah has said to mankind, if the whole of mankind and the jinn came together to write a book like the Quran, they could not do it. This is just a dollop, everybody. A dollop. A dollop. This is before you even get to the actual information that's on the pages. The revelation itself. This is the book. To write a book like the Quran, they could not do it. This is just a dollop, everybody. A dollop. A dollop. This is before you even get to the actual information that's on the pages. The revelation itself. This is the book that makes all things clear. This is the book that is from the one that breathed life into you and gave you an appointed time on the earth. This is it. This is it. You will not find any of this in this thing called the Bible. This is the book. Won't find it. That makes all things clear. Won't find it. I don't want to overwhelm you and overload you. I wanted to just bring you just that even. And gave you an appointed time. So that down the road, there will be more things like this that I'm going to have to share with you. Because I need you to really understand what you're dealing with. You will not find any of this So when people talk about the Quran, well, they took that from the Bible, and it's just the same thing. And no, and sit your ass down. You have one book that is divine, literally, and one that is not, and one that is not. Do you understand me? I hope this video has caused you to pause.
I don't know what's playing.
I hope this video has caused you to pause.
I don't know what's playing.
And to contemplate and consider, you know, the very book itself. And later I will get into helping you to understand how, you know, the very heart in your chest, your heart is always just to the left. Well, the divine language goes from left to right, from the left to the right. Strike that, strike that, strike that. We write from right to left. We write from
Test.
right to left. Not the other way around. My bad. When you see us circling around the Kaaba in Mecca, our left side is to the
Test.
building.
Test.
Your heart is always just to the left. Well, the divine
Test.
goes from left to right. From the left to the right. Strike that, strike that, strike that. We write from right to left.
Test.
We write from right to left. Not the other way around. My bad. When you see us circling around the Kaaba in Mecca, our left side is to the building.
Testing 1. Okay, I apologize for the sound nightmare, everybody. I didn't realize my mic went live when I plugged it in, but I'm glad it did because I didn't know if I was going to get sound or not while I'm live. So once we hear this to the end, there's just only a few more minutes left. Very few minutes left. When we get to the end, then I will be on camera so we can have a live discussion. I want to also shout out Celestine. I just seen your name. Walaikum salam. We've only have a few more minutes of this, everybody. So I'm gonna disconnect my mic again so it doesn't bleed in, and we'll finish this to the end. All right. So I'll see you in a second.
As we go around it. Do you understand? I'm going to be helping you understand how the Quran is saying to you that it's not just your brain that you think with. You could take your head off your shoulders and your heart is still able to think, everybody. And we can back this up with science. Now in this century, from a book revealed in the 6th century to a man who could not read or write. Do you understand me? Get interested in the truth, everybody. And as I said in my previous video, stop playing the little, the 3-year-old game and the little Disney circus. You need to be over that. You need to be over that. And I've said 1,000,000,000 times, and I don't ever hear anybody asking me no questions. I've said I'm available anytime. I'll move heaven and earth. I'll stop my entire schedule. Anytime you want to get on Skype and talk about Islam, I'll answer any question you want. Anything you want to know about anything. That's fine. And it's down. You have one book that is divine. Literally. Well, the divine language goes from left to right. From the left to the right. Strike that. So when people talk about the Quran, well, they took that from the Bible and it's just the same thing. And no, and sat your ass down. You have one book that is divine, literally, and one that is not. And one that is not. Do you understand me? I hope this video has caused you to pause and to contemplate and consider, the very book itself. And later I will get into helping you to understand how, the very heart in your chest, your heart is always just to the left. Well, the divine language goes from left to right. From the left to the right. Strike that. We write from right to left. We write from right to left. Not the other way around. My bad. When you see us circling around the Kaaba in Mecca, our left side is to the building as we go around it. Do you understand? I'm going to be helping you understand how the Quran is saying to you that it's not just your brain that you think with. You could take your head off your shoulders and your heart is still able to think, everybody. And we can back this up with science. Now in this century, from a book revealed in the 6th century to a man who could not read or write. Do you understand me? Get interested in the truth, everybody. And as I said in my previous video, stop playing the little, 3-year-old game and the little Disney circus. You need to be over that. You need to be over that. And I've said 1,000,000,000 times, and I don't ever hear anybody asking me no questions. I've said I'm available anytime. I'll move heaven and earth. I'll stop my entire schedule. Anytime you want to get on Skype and talk about Islam, I'll answer any question you want. Anything you want to know about anything. That's fine and not surprising. You see? Because for many of you, it doesn't matter what proof is given to you. Even Allah himself could reveal himself from behind the veil of light today, and you would still have some bullshit to say. Your destiny is the hellfire already. You need to give it up. You will not be going to paradise, I can already tell you. Not because I say so, but because the creator of the heavens and the earth has already said it. From this divine kitab, this book. The very book is divine. You understand? The book itself is divine. Before you even get to start reading it. I will also astonish you with the mathematical layout of the Quran. It's so complex and so intricate that when you understand it, I don't know what you'll do. But at the very least, you will have to type, "This is definitely not the Bible." You could actually type that on this damn video. If you feel as such. If you were touched by the information, just this little dollop that I brought in this piece. If this did anything for you, I'd like to know about it. I'd like to know about it. So, in closing, I want to say the following. It is evident that to use this number specifically, because as I said earlier, if it was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, one could see where, well, we could come up with multiples off our head. But 19, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. And I'll tell you, my own personal moment of I need a glass of water whenever I learned this. Like everything was already killing me. It was just killing me dead. But when I began to understand that the very first revelation sent down to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how that was so riddled with 19, you know. Listen, if you go to Vegas, everybody, hear this, for all y'all non-holy folks that still gamble and play lottery and go to Vegas and do it all. If you went into Vegas, I don't care if you're playing craps or blackjack or it don't matter what you're doing. If you keep hitting, pretty soon security is going to be coming. Hi, we just wanted to come over and check on you today, and you know, because there's probabilities, there's odds, but the law of probability, everybody, the law of probability is reasonable and consistent. Hear that again. The law of probability is reasonable and consistent. What that means is there's a certain ratio of win and there's a certain ratio of not win. And if you just winning, every time you roll the dice, oh craps, I win. You know, and think about it. Even if you're one of them street people that do the shells or whatever, and every time they win in, you know, or if somebody said, you know, they had a quarter and they said, you know, pick heads or tails, and every time they flipped it, it was heads. Like every time, you'd be like, they have rigged that quarter somehow. Be honest, y'all. Y'all know, especially black folks. You know, we'd be like, they done rigged it, because your inner voice says that can't be possible. Consistently like that. That can't. It's something they doing. Even if we don't understand it, we know it's something. It's a problem. It's a problem. So allow your common sense to be in place and healthy here. and let yourself be moved as you should be by this information. You see, only the divine. It's one thing to put something on paper, or in this case, it was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad orally, you see. And we'll get into later videos. People will have questions. Well, how did the Quran become written down, and how did it? We'll get to that. All right, stay on this right now. All right. So it's one thing for Allah to reveal. And what I will say about what I just said, even though we're not getting to that now, you need to understand that at the time that that the Prophet Muhammad would recite it to his companions to write it down, and then the angel Jibril would come every year to review, to make sure that every single word was correct. And Jibril is Allah's mightiest angel. Mightiest. And loyal and thorough. So, at the time that they put this down, the hand of Allah was guiding them. Everything that I've shared with you in this video, I don't know if the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the people of his time even knew this. I don't know the answer to that. Currently, my guess would be they didn't know, because most of what's in the Quran, it is a living document, still proving itself. Revelations are still coming true, prophecies, signs, information that they simply weren't going to be on earth to see that. Goes back to the embryo. There's no way they knew what an embryo was, because it's microscopic, can't be seen with the human eye. You've got to have a telescope, a microscope, high-powered microscope at that, in order to see the embryo. So they had to just believe. They had to just believe. But here we are now, with all of our sophistication and know-it-all. Because this book is going to prove itself to the end of time. To the end of time. This is the work of Allah. And I want to make that distinction between word and work. Because clearly this is the word of Allah. Clearly. But I want to use the word work here too, because in this video, what I'm clearly showing you is the work of, the work of Allah. And as I said, this is just a dollop. I'll be bringing you other things in the future that will be just as, if not more astonishing than this, that should to the common sense man and woman prove to them clearly this book is from the creator of the heavens and the earth. I want to hear from you, because when I communicate, I am communicating in a vacuum, so to speak. I can't read your minds. And so you should give me the honor of communicating to me your reaction to this information. And indeed, my presentation, because it's only through your feedback that I'm able to perfect, augment, whatever I need to do to be more effective in communicating to you. But if you don't communicate back to me, then I think I'm doing everything perfect and that I'm without error. So I'm absolutely interested to hear your reaction and your feedback. No one watching this video should not have something to say about it. Don't disappoint me. I'll see you soon.
Test. Test. All right, everybody. I'm going to try this now. I've never done this ever before in all the years I've been on here. Oops. All right, everybody. Wait. I got to try now to bring me on camera without losing our connection. So just stand by. I don't see the light lighting up on the camera. Let me make sure I still have sound. Try this now. I've never done this ever before. All the years I've been on this. Test. I gotta try now to bring me on camera. Test. Without losing our connection. So just stand by. Testing. See the light lighting up on the camera. Testing. Test. Okay, we're gonna have to, if you could still hear me, I think you can. I'm gonna have to start the stream over if I'm gonna be on camera. I mean, quite frankly, I'm happy to do it without being on camera. Maybe we could take a vote. So let's vote. If you want me to go on camera, or tell me that, or if you're okay with just the audio, vote now in the comments. I'd like to see a vote from everybody if I could. I'm not seeing the comments. Okay, vote everybody. Wait. You want me to go on camera? Tell me that. I don't see any votes. If I don't see any votes, then I guess I don't need to do anything. Okay, fine. I guess we'll pick it up in the next time. Hopefully somebody got something out of this. May Allah be glorified.